Not yet. Hold on.
Seconds start now. 10 seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
All right, maybe we'll figure this out. I'm trying to. I got us. I thought I had us on the same platform here, but I don't know why we got a third wheel right up here. Let me see if I can make it disappear. Hide.
You did it.
Okay, that's it. That's my Bible thing telling me it's 8 o'clock. Oh me. Where'd you get them glasses? That's some interesting glasses he got there.
You don't like them?
They seemed a little different.
They are.
They're
They're
different.
Yeah, being that my real glasses are in the eye doctor getting the frame, I would get the lenses changed out. I went and bought me some reading glasses, but I got the reading glasses that helps you to be able to look at a computer and see. So it's got a weird kind of tint to it. And yes, this is not something I would normally pick as a pair of glasses, but
Yeah, I
hey,
think.
it's a Walmart special, so it worked out.
Yeah, I think after I get back from Alaska, after the summer, I'm gonna go and get my cataracts done then, and then hopefully I won't be wearing glasses. They said I'll be able to see 20/20 at distance, and the only time I'd have to wear glasses is to read something real small. So I can't wait for that. And I'm gonna get my eyes cut on too at around that time, and I may get some plastic surgery done. Who knows?
Oh,
Oh,
me.
man. Well, listen, I wanted to talk a little bit tonight. It looks like we got about 8 people watching. I can't see. Let me see if I can pull up the way to see them say anything. I do have. Let's see here. There's a. It's I push chat. There we go. Hello there. There's Chabug. There's Amber. Beach Bum, man, I see a lot of people here. Haven't seen in a while. Glad to see y'all back with us. We're gonna try to do this every Thursday night, and who knows, we might sneak one something in there in between. But Tony's got girls involved in all kinds of school activities, and so he's busy. Plus, he teaches college paramedic school, so he's a busy person. And I've just we're trying to get a few things done. Who's got
Hey, hey, I
Chop?
like that.
Got
I'm,
you got snow? Somebody said they got snow. I
oh,
don't. We had snow the other night in Nashville, but it wasn't a whole lot of it, just about a half inch. But I enjoyed it. Maggie enjoyed it. So, uh,
I kind of halfway agree with Amber E. It says a little filler and Botox. LOL. I would think that you wouldn't need any filler, but you might need some Botox.
uh, SYM Radio, good evening from New Hampshire. Wow, great to see you. Now, I'm going to tell you, New Hampshire, I imagine that y'all got snow up there. I've been through there once, but I wouldn't say in Seattle area. Wow. Have not been to Washington State yet. Maybe maybe this year though. We are going to Alaska and we're cutting from California up through uh, Death Valley, Joshua Tree, maybe Lake Tahoe. Who knows? But anyway, I wanted to talk a couple things, and this is more or less a public service announcement, if nothing else. Uh, and I'm sure, listen, I'm sure that y'all don't have, you've never done this before, but this happened right out here in Madison County, just south of where we are right now. We are in South Tennessee, but uh, this happened in Madison County. A woman had left her car running because it's so cold, and went into a convenience store with her kids left inside. And this moron here jumps in the car and steals it with the kids inside. Uh, they did catch him. They did find the car, and I think he even tried to drop the kids off in a parking lot. But just, please don't ever leave your car running with the kids inside and go in, or even not running, because these morons that steal them, they do not care if there's a kid in the car or not. However, most of them, when they get in there and find out there's a kid in the car, freak out, and they abandon either the car or the kids. But still, we never know. You get these, you get weirdos that will do anything. And this happened just 30, 40 miles south of where we are right now. The woman pulled right up to the parking lot and boom, got her car stolen and her kids were inside. And if you notice here, I just copied the whole page here, but it says, have you talked to your kids about fentanyl? That is a good thing, is you need to discuss with them about how fentanyl can be in anything, not just in you know, where they know it. I know, I can't believe people actually they want to do it. It's another one, same way. This was in. I'm gonna put you on top over here, Anthony, and see Tony, and see if I can try to move you out of the way there. But uh,
You put me front and center.
wait a minute. Okay. Anyway, this was in Wilmatic. I think that is in somewhere up in. I want to say it was in Georgia, but I don't think so. We'll try to find it in just a minute. Find out. Same thing. Car stolen with kids inside. Uh, you know, this guy that stole this one was he's a brain surgeon. He right here he is. If I can get it to come up. Yeah, right here. Subject arrested. Uh, After car stolen with kids inside. Now, he did go down the road and try to drop them off, I understand, but they got him. He's under arrest and they charge him. The thing is, these guys don't realize it's not just car theft. They charge him with kidnapping.
Yeah.
They charge him with kidnapping, and the reason why, and robbery. Uh, you know, but they don't just charge him with the stolen car. And the reason why they charge him with robbery, as you know, at least it is in Alabama, you've got to commit a theft and you got to you got to take something from somebody actually that's of value. And I guess they think the kids of value because, and they charge them with robbery too, but they charge them with kidnapping. That is a federal crime, but they don't usually run through federal court. They because of the stolen car, but they would charge them with kidnapping through, and that's a serious. You get 50 years in Alabama for kidnapping if you're not careful.
Go back to the picture that you had before that one.
Um,
That one.
yeah,
Um, I just want to highlight on something that I came across actually this past week, and it was after we had did our last show. Um, that view right there is a good example of something that I wanted to bring about. They have recently had ladies in particular that were the ones that were vulnerable, but I'm not ruling out by all means that it could be a male that could get kidnapped. But they showed where they were laying a $100 bill or a $50 bill near the pump on the ground, but they were lacing it with fentanyl. Of course, somebody would pick it up and then they would be able to go over there. And these people would normally be sitting in a vehicle close by, maybe a van or dark tinted winded vehicle. And then they would, of course, wait for them to have a spell by getting fentanyl into their system. And then they'd go grab them and kidnap them. So that's something I think that is important for folks out there that watch the show. This is yet another, just a sight that you can picture of something that could possibly be taking place. Vehicle parked at a gas station there and set somebody up to pull in, and that happened.
yeah, and you look at that gas station; it's fairly well lit up. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was going to pull in something, if a, a lady or man or whatever, and this not just for women. Men are notorious because they don't feel like getting their kids out of the car, especially if it's real cold, and they'll just say, "Hey, lock the doors. I'll be right back." Well, I read on this particular one that they did have the doors locked, but she had the driver's window down. I don't understand that, but and that's
Mm.
he just reached in there, unlocked the door, and got in the car and drove off. But um I tell you, I carry Maggie, our lab, with me a lot in the car, and I'll leave the windows halfway down with her in the car, and I wonder, it bothers me because I'm really worried about somebody trying to steal her. She loves everybody. Somebody can come up to the car and she'll lick them. It's not like she's going to even try to protect the car. She loves everybody, so I worry about her. So, but I only leave her in the car now if I can see the car. Usually, I've done it in the past, went into Walmart, but usually it's been real cold, and I only just leave the windows down enough for her to get a little air.
Right.
But I worry about them, and we saw this, and I know that Tony can tell you because we saw this down all the time down in South Alabama where it's hot and where we work, people will leave their kids in the car and go in shopping, and either they forget they're in there or they think that they don't need much air, and they'll leave them in there, or they'll leave the air conditioner running. But the kids will drop that thing down and drive, or anything could happen, or they're just somebody that wants to kidnap them could walk up and just point to open the door, and they'd open it. But still, I do not. I we had one officer that I worked around, and Tony, you know who it is, but I'm not going to say his name. He worked juvenile, and we had several cases where the woman somebody forgot and left their kids in the car, or just left them in there while they ran into Target for 20 minutes or so, and they could have died in there, and yet they refused to prosecute them, which I wanted to really. I felt that it was making let's make an example out of them, let's put them in jail. But I worked narcotics, and he worked something else, so we didn't do it. But it's a very, very dangerous thing to do if you, especially leaving them in the car like this and running into a store. You know, it just goes to show you people will steal the car without even knowing that the kids are in the back seat, and they may not know for a while. I wanted to touch on this. We all know that we should know that Barry Morphew, with the Susan Morphew case, his lawsuit was dismissed because the judge ruled that they had probable cause to believe enough to get a warrant for him. Although the DA was disbarred and they have not decided to re-prosecute him now. He's appealing the decision of the judge to dismiss his lawsuit. He's appealing it. And also, here's another thing. They said that, and here's that it might end up getting that thrown back in. Apparently, there was a news person that inquired about with the DA's office if they were going to prosecute him, and somebody made the mistake of saying that it was a cold case. And here's the issue with that. Colorado law says if it's a cold case means you don't have a suspect. Now that is a problem because that's pretty much saying Barry is pretty much going and saying, well, if it's a cold case and you don't have a suspect, that just goes to show you I was not prosecuted. I was prosecuted maliciously. So I don't know who is talking to the media down there, but they need to be very careful on what they say. Very careful. Because if I don't, I hope they don't classify it as a cold case and they do not have any suspects. So one of the reason is too that they're worried about. I heard that they're worried about this unknown DNA, and that's the reason why that no prosecution is done right now, because that will throw it in there. They're afraid that if they do prosecute him for the crime, that until they find this person that is the unknown DNA, or they can link him to the person with the unknown DNA, they're afraid they're going to get a not guilty verdict, and then they'll never be able to prosecute him again. So it's a bad situation at the very least. It's a very, very bad situation. Um, yeah, I agree, Beecham. That's not really what it means. But under Colorado law, if you go back and you read Colorado law, it's something to do with the fact that their law says you really can't call it a cold case. If you're calling it a cold case, you don't have that means you don't have a suspect, which I don't I don't believe that because there's been a lot of them. I think the Golden State Killer and a lot of these others, they were cold cases, but they were still working on it, and he might have two or three suspects that you can say, this person did it. We believe he did it, but we just don't have enough to prosecute him. So I don't know. It's
The
you
Go
know,
Beach killing investigation obviously was cold case till they broke some DNA and stuff. So
yep. Absolutely. All right. Well, now, that wanted to discuss that anyway. We'll follow it up. I'll tell you, I kind of want to. If I hope the DA that's in there now will. I think they have enough circumstantial evidence to get a conviction, even if they just say, "Hey, the other DNA was that was found may have been an accomplice. We don't know." All right, I do want to bring up some guys here. These three are listed as kidnapping victims. Uh, they were at a bus stop, but I kind of, when they were taken, a vehicle pulled up to the bus stop and took the kids. They do have a suspect, and I'm not sure if they're related or not. This is her. She's a black female, 5'6", 184 pounds. I don't think she has the last name of any of these people, but uh, these are the kids that were taken here. She is. Wait, I don't think we have her name. Let me see. I wish I didn't have us right there. Possibly in a Nissan Sentra. Let me do something with us here just a minute. Let me try to shift us there. Um, a Nissan Sentra, and this is out of Virginia. Last seen at Bobby's Way bus stop, and the three kids there that we showed, one's 10, one's 8, and let me go back to these over here and see. They're waiting for the bus, and this four-door vehicle pulls up. And I don't think what I've read is that they're not. This is a non-related person that took them, but they possibly could have taken them, in relationship to another, maybe a father or mother. His 10-year-old, 8-year-old, and let me see. I apologize here. I'm trying to. We Anthony, we're right over the top of these. Let me see if I can get us on here without it. Yeah, the 6-year-old,
There you go.
out of Virginia, at the bus stop. So car pulls up. Basically, says, "Get in the car." You got him in the car. Now, to me, this sounds like a domestic situation, but um, you never know. You never know what it is. All right. The one thing that I was trying to tell uh, Tony earlier, and for life of me, I could not remember it, but this is unbelievable here. This is unidentified child remains. These are currently, now this was from a 2021. So anytime the FBI does anything, you know, you can't say up to date. You can look at the crime reports, but that's about it. It says there are approximately 45,000 sets of unidentified remains in the United States, and estimated more than 1,000 of the remains are from children. Do you think about that? 45,000 sets of remains that they don't know who they are, and 1,000 of those are kids. Now you think of this: the the adults, 45,000 is a lot, but you have a lot of people that go missing because they have some type of mental breakdown, and then they go homeless and maybe go out and they get living in these homeless camps because they're bipolar or they're psychotic or they have some mental breakdown where they don't remember. They have maybe a head injury, and then they die somewhere. They maybe fall. They fall, hit their head, get killed, murdered, whatever. 45,000 is a whole lot of people that they don't know, but that means that their prints, if they find their bones, their remains that don't really have fingerprints, but they would maybe DNA. But what I'm wondering is, and we're going to go more into this and depth of it, but I'm wondering how y'all feel about when you're born. They take your footprint. You're born. Sometimes they take fingerprint, handprints. What about giving your DNA when you're born? How do you feel about that? Would you think that? I mean, just think. that would probably solve huge amount of crimes because CODIS, with your DNA, all if you get a DNA at a crime scene, you put it in CODIS, and it searches all the people that have their DNA. Is and the criminal aspect of it is because when you're convicted of a felony, arrested for a felony, most police departments take your DNA. How would you feel? Would you feel like that would be a violation of your rights, or do you think that that would be something? I mean, there'd be a whole lot of people do this. You wouldn't have 45,000 sets of remains. You may have some that they can't get DNA from, but for the most thing, if you had DNA taken at birth, when you were born, the doctor puts a swab and puts it, on your birth records that you had, in a gigantic place. A lot of people feel like that's violation of civil rights. How do you feel about that, Tony?
I feel like chia bug. I think it'd be abused.
How would it be used?
Well, some people might think this is kind of funny, but go back to do you remember the show? Oh, what was it? Judge Dredd. You remember what happened to Judge Dredd?
No, I don't. I don't even know if I've ever watched it.
Well, you'd have to watch the movie just to understand it, but in the simple principle of things, you can have a crime scene. Let's say it takes place in a wooded area that's a state park or a national forest where there's lots of people that go through there um, if they hike or do whatever. So their DNA is along that trail, but if somebody got killed there and they collect all this DNA from that area, then potentially there could be some people that are definitely deemed as a suspect. Now, of course, they'd have to do a thorough investigation and everything, but in the principle of things, they could still be run through the ringer as a suspect, and they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't obviously commit the crime, and so that could be a potential thing. Now, they already make money off of it. Every time you have uh, people that do the color guard and everything else, and then people that do ancestry.com and all the other little things that's out there, those companies sell that information to other side companies, and then they turn around and sell it back to Codex and whoever else. So it's just a flip around. That's just my
Yeah, I see what you're talking about, but you got a 45,000 people that we don't know who they are in the remains. 45,000 and 1,000 kids. 1,000 kids. Look at here. It says not. I've got these out of order. I'll tell you. I was trying to upload them and I've gotten them out of order, but I tried to copy just from a page. It said here of the 9% of the cases that were children originated in another country. 55% came from Mexico, 35% Central America, and less than 1% from South America. And and then in Canada, one significant number of variables, the case type that marked undetermined due to the limited case information. For the variables that were
well,
known, 75% of the children were over 15, and 35% um, remained
alive
alive
under a month.
under a month. And I would have thought it'd been the other way around because a lot of people have stillborn babies and other stuff, and rather than go to the doctor, I've heard about them just burying them, you know, being afraid or whatever. It says here children over the age of 15 had a higher chance of remaining alive for over a week to have gone missing from a different state where their body was recovered. Now, this is talking, I guess, people that had been.
They'd have to, yeah, they'd have to find the body within
Yeah, right.
so many days or whatever to determine the post mortem effect. But now, getting back to your statement, I think somebody put on there. Let me scroll back. Something there's somebody. Well, Chiabug put about it would be abused, but there was somebody else that wrote something on there. Anyway, somebody else put something on there. I have to go back and try to figure out which one, but um, it could be potentially abused. You know, somebody. Oh, I remember. Somebody may have not. It was Chiabug. The real criminal may not have left any. If they really are a serial killer or something of that nature, if they wanted to set up a scene, they could take a body, and as long as they're, um, basically do PPE precautions and things like that, wear a suit, and this, the other, drop a body off in a crime scene, then it would be hard to process, and then they would have to try to find any evidence on the body. But short of that, then yes, if any DNA was found about the person or the area, then someone could easily be potentially set up to take a fall. So I
Yeah,
mean,
but I mean, it's
there is some abuse to the thing, but now I will give a tidbit of this. There's enough DNA in Codex and in some of the other programs that already exist that pretty much you can go back and you can find a lineage line of knowing that this particular individual came at least from a particular lineage line, and then they at least can go back and track it down from that if they do take the time to really investigate it. Now, I understand that there's a large amount of money involved, and most of these uh, district attorneys or state medical examiner offices may not have the means to take every single body like that and do something to do the testing that might necessarily be needed. However, because especially if they've only found bone remains, I don't know if they would, if it's going to be a process that they would take everyone. I think they should. I think the money should be allocated that they do take the DNA from the person that is the victim and try to match it into finding what variable line that it would come from the genetics and the genetic codes to see if we can find a next of kin and things like that. So that is something that should be done. But it is there, Tommy. It is enough information that they could do that with those 45,000 and the 1,000, especially the children. They pretty much get it down to finding probably something with a line of a grandparent and then go from there.
well. I want to say this. And I've got this on here. I'm going to leave it on here without our face being exposed right now. I watched if you got Netflix, go watch the, Ramsey case. What what's her name? The kid that got murdered.
But
Oh man,
John Benet Ramsey or
John
something.
Benet Ramsey. Anyway,
Yeah,
go watch that. Very, very, very interesting. Now, you realize that case is 28 years old. Believe that? 28 years, I think it was, that she got killed. I want to say it was 96, something like that. But
right.
they turned that DNA. Well, we lost everything for a second there. They turned that DNA over. Uh, they asked the police department to let one of those genealogist people follow it back to see because there was DNA in supposedly the panties, but it was not sexual. It was not a sexual DNA. They went over to China where that garment was made and tried to get find out the DNA matched any of their workers, checked everybody in the whole factory. It did not because they were trying to say it came from the people that actually made the panties. Also, supposedly she had DNA underneath her fingertips. I had a I don't know. I've had some mixed
Well,
emotions. Uh,
they already said about that case that they had the DNA of a person that had murdered some people before
well, they
surfaced in
backtracking
that
that
case.
now on that. They're backtracking that. They said that's not. The news came out and said that's not true. That's the news came out the other day and said it's not true. I don't know. We'll talk about that because I I actually have a theory about it, but my wife says I'm crazy. But anyway, the condition of the body that did not seem to have a significant effect on the prediction of the accuracy of the characteristics. Then it shows here that if it was fresh, decomposed, or burned, and it shows basically the percentage. Um, I think a lot of these people here, most of the people they were able to recover, they recovered with DNA, but because the person uh, that had anything to do with this did not have their DNA, um, you know, out there that did anything. Younger children were more likely to die under a week, and then older children, which that's what I said that somebody might not have killed the child, she might have died accidentally, or and they for whatever reason did not go take them to the doctor. 3% of the children under 15 years of age died under a week from going missing. So they claimed they went missing. Now I don't know. It goes back to my being, and maybe you too feel like that. Maybe these people had a stillborn death, and they reported him missing to throw law enforcement off.
Well,
44% of older children died under a week.
we've had cases where we've worked those kind where they were stillborn and
Right.
basically thrown away babies and stuff like that, which is a sad situation in itself. But anyway,
Here, and one thing I read in this, and I don't know if it's in particular of this. I'm gonna try to make this bigger because I'll be honest with you. I guess I can't see the writing here, but they said some of these, like there was a bunch of cases that they recovered that they were missing from one state, and I that makes me think that there's a serial killer. The FBI said that there's as many as 35 to 55 serial killers roaming the United States at any one time. Uh, a lot of these bodies here apparently, uh, you know, see see different state, same state. Yeah, this one with the color, the kind of a bluish color, they were recovered from the same state. 50
58%.
58%. I
Yeah,
mean, that makes me, you know what I mean? That makes me think that there's a somebody that maybe is, I don't know. The medium distance was 530 miles between missing locations where the body was recovered, and that's a pretty good distance. The short distance of 5 miles just over a state line, and the longest distance of 3,350 miles across the country. And that reminds me of a lot of the suspects would be truck drivers or someone that is going across country. That they pick these up at truck stops and that. But you see the graph there, uh,
right,
and I mean, it's pretty good distance. There's not a whole lot of people under 100 miles there. I mean, what 20% under 100 miles, but
right.
uh,
Well, just think about
right.
we've had cases that are obviously recent that was pretty high profile cases, and the children were found within, you know, miles of where they became missing.
Yeah, and it says here that DNA was covered recovered under 61% of the cases. DNA, they recovered DNA, but um, you know, that up above that, 90% of identifications were confirmed through direct one-to-one biometric comparisons. So I guess they had like dental records or DNA or something like that. Of the ones that were done, 90% of them were identified through there.
Well,
Not
dental records today are 10 times better than what even they used to be in
Yeah,
regards to they get the impression of the bottom of the molars and all that kind of stuff now.
yeah. And it says here biometrics also used to confirm identifications, potential, and I can't read that potential something. Initially suggest through other avenues such as tips to law enforcement or to support biometrics databases. A database hit, and I guess that was through CODIS, maybe you would say. And then I said 90 90% were identifications confirmed through direct to one-to-one biometric comparison, 61% through DNA, 15% through dental, 14% through fingerprints, and then visuals. I guess that might be if somebody, we think we may have found your daughter because she's wearing the
Yes,
same
Beach
clothes that
Bum.
she disappeared on, you know.
Beach Bum
Uh,
said, "Is that why dentists are so dang expensive?" I said, "Yes."
yeah, yeah. And then, of course, it says unknown here. Uh, and recommended it is recommended that law enforcement prioritize securing DNA sample, full dental records and fingerprints of the possible during the investigation. And that's what I say. If you have a missing child or a missing person, and if you can get uh, uh,
Well,
find out who their dentist is, find
if
out
you
if you can go up to their
well,
room and get some hair out of their
that's what I
hairbrush,
was just about to
stuff
say.
like that.
All of the most, well, I wouldn't say all. I'll say most of the programs that are done with community outreach with law enforcement now, they have the kits that are there at the police station that they can give out to parents, and most of police departments that if they do put on special community events, they are usually there and they will give out these little packet things that will help parents to get a lock of hair. Then they're able to get dental records, and then of course some various information about the child, and they keep it with them at all times.
But
That
people feel weird about that. I've talked to parents before, and I say, if it was, and I don't know that I did that. I didn't do it. I tell you, I didn't do it. But if I think people, when you talk about that to them, they don't want to even think about that happening. They don't want to think about it happening to their children, so they're not willing to go and do it. But that's why I'm saying if
that's why we had we had several programs throughout various states where they, at least we have a night that they would do fingerprinting, and
right
so the parents
fingerprinting,
would, and then basically the police department or sheriff's department would give them a some sort of goodie bag for the kid getting fingerprinted, but then the cards were given to the parents to
right,
keep. The same thing with those kits. If they got a lock of hair or a strand of hair, then they kept that, the parents kept it, not the police agency or anything like that.
yeah, and that goes back to you know I know it's kind of weird with about giving DNA at birth, but you know, and I don't think they keep any of the. I know they give a footprint on the birth certificate and sometime handprints, but they don't keep any of that stuff. It looks like I don't know. It may come down to the point someday that they will capture DNA so that they can. I think a lot of people, and I it kind of you might it gets this in your mind. A lot of people would say, "Well, I don't want to keep have my child, get DNA because what if he is, what if he does something as a, and they just, I don't know it. A lot of people feel like they don't want to be they don't want to have something that personal in the government's control, and I can understand some of that, uh, under some administrations that with the whole Justice Department was used as a um, to go after their enemies. And speaking of that, did y'all hear the news tonight that Biden is looking into giving a preemptive pardon to a bunch of people like Fauci and a bunch of other people, uh, so that if they're ever charged with anything in the next 10 years, they'll be pardoned. That's why I understand it. So somebody could go out. I don't know. It looked like to me somebody
I
could go
don't
out and
think
maybe
I don't think
do
they
some
can.
type of criminal.
They I don't think they can do that.
That's what they said, that possibility
It's
that well
not
just like
it's not
well I say
constitutional. You know
well
that from
yeah,
being
but just
having a law
look
degree.
at and we're going back, and I don't want to bring up politics, but look what Hunter was given a 10-year pardon for crimes known and unknown. So he could come up say, well, he killed somebody 3 years ago, and as long as it's a federal charge, he could not be charged for crimes non and known and unknown and
Well,
federal.
to
It
be
doesn't
to
say
be
anything about
quote
state.
to be pardoned, you have to be found guilty.
Well, that's
You
not
can't
what
be. You cannot. I don't care what they tell you. I don't care what. There. Think about how much stuff is said on the news and everything else about whatever that's not really true. I mean, the
what they're
fact of the
pardoned.
matter is, you can't. You've got to be found guilty to be pardoned of something.
Yeah, well, I read the pardon, the order, because it's a pretty long order, and it says in there, which I couldn't believe it. It said for crimes known and unknown, and that's federal crimes, though. So that's it's weird. I don't know, but because the reason why it's going back to that Ukraine Burisma thing in Ukraine, which he was never charged with any of that, but they're afraid of something else coming up. So that's what I heard. But anyway, this was says here 88% or 78% of the victims involved in the analysis had known risk factors. 22% did not list any, and most cases had multiple risk factors. Now, I think they're talking maybe of drugs, alcohol use, yes, mental illnesses, abuse, neglect, uh, or they had multiple missing incidents where you have somebody that runs away, you know, runs away and runs away and runs away and runs away, and then finally they meet the wrong person out there when they're running away, and they get killed. Um, any questions on this? I'm going to go over some missing people real quick too at this, but one is this guy here. He's missing out of Tennessee. He's a special needs child. Um, got a medical condition, and if I can pull this up where maybe you can read on here. Um, that's the only thing I don't like about one of the things I don't like about the software. I just cannot see what that says. But basically, it talks about that he has to pretty much be shown his way home. that he is got that problem, and this is he's listed on the FBI missing also. I think he's 15 years old. He's out of Tennessee here, so they're
Might have
really
autism or
you got some
something
type
like that.
of learning disability, and I think they have like a $10,000 reward for him. Let's see here. Uh, Now, this guy up here that we're going to look at, everybody I know should have seen this guy's picture. Um, he is the guy that shot the
CEO of Health
CEO for the medical thing.
of United
There,
Health
I mean, these pictures of his face. I mean, I don't know if y'all know it, but New York has got like hundreds and hundreds of cameras, and they
They
pretty
already
much
tracked
got
this case down. I don't know if you heard. They tracked this case down that he rode some little scooter. It's like a uh, little kickstand scooter thing. I forgot now what
right.
they're called, but he rode it to this location,
He
and it
stayed in
all
a hostel last night. They said he stayed in a hostel, and he used a false ID from New Jersey. Now I watched the nightly news. They said that the gun he used was not a silencer. Said it looked like it had a silencer on it, but it was not. It was not a silencer. Hey, if you find him, I think it's $10,000 to $20,000 reward for him. Um, they say that if you see, I watched the shooting, and he racked out the brass, and on the brass it said defy, uh like it said three words. It was like defy, defund, resolve, or something. It was the same words used in a book. And they
hmm,
claim that, and what it looks like to me is maybe that he was had maybe somebody from his family had tried to get medical, and he was turned down. Supposedly, the company that the CEO worked for was notorious about turning down medical. And they showed protests in the street where people were over the years saying that this medical firm was notorious about turning down people that have
deny,
serious illnesses.
deny, defend, depose.
Yeah, there you go. Deny, defend, oppose.
Thank
So,
you, Amber.
you know, I think
Yeah,
they'll find him. They said that the whole city, there are hundreds of thousands, maybe, street cameras, and they do face recognition on these people and everything. So they will find him. There's no doubt in my mind. Whether they take him alive, that that may be an issue. Supposedly, the gun that they've identified the gun, and they don't have it, but they've identified it, and that it was a very rare type of gun. So they've looked up who sold one of these guns legally in the last couple of years. They did find out they had a purchase out of Massachusetts, but it's going to be interesting to see if you know if they have
I did see a clip on a video where somebody was doing some sort of video here on this platform or another platform where they were basically pointing at like this and then having the picture of the CEO and saying that he basically condoned, that it's okay to have done that to him. It was pretty wild to see that video like that.
yeah. I mean, there's uh they supposedly, and I didn't get the exact amount, but supposedly this CEO was paid an unbelievable amount of money too. I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even $1 million. But it people when I would bet when they catch this guy that he had a mother, a wife, or a sister that did not get approved to be treated for like cancer or some deadly disease. And if she had been approved, then because um, stem cell research, bone marrow research was experimental just years ago, within 5 or 10 years ago, and now it's pretty much standard care
Mm.
for cancer patients. So, but if I don't have you seen, if any of y'all seen, I'm sure most of you have seen The Rainmaker by John Grisham, the movie The Rainmaker. I read the book. It's
Great,
basically the
great
same
movie.
thing. Uh, if you've seen, if you don't or you have seen it, that would be great to watch it, because I thought about that when I saw this, because basically what they did in the Rainmaker was that this company, Mutual Benefit, I think the name of it was, they actually denied like nine
Coverage
eighty
for the boy
something
and he had
percent.
cancer. Yeah.
Right, 80 something percent of the claims they denied right off the bat. So this could very well be that. You think about it, your mother, your wife, your sister, or even a girlfriend or whatever would be denied and cost her life. Then and he might have been planning this for years. He may not. This may, because this is a well planned attack. He stayed in a hostel. He used a false ID. They got him on the subway. They got him on a bike. Then they got him stalking this guy and catching him in an alley. And according to the news, this type of gun did not have a silencer. However, it did have the barrel was made where it did silence the bullet. Now, here's the thing: if he shot him with a 22, which I don't know the caliber, but if he did shoot him with a 22, it's almost impossible to do a barrel reconstruction with a 22. And if he shot him with like a high caliber, I can't think of the name of the bullet now, but it's subsonic.
Yeah. So
Subsonic bullet, it's almost like shooting with a silencer. You can't hardly hear the thing. So I don't know if it was a 22 or not. If it was, then he very well planned this out. I mean, he first had a
what
backpack.
what is what is
Didn't
the
have a
known
backpack.
what is the known assassin bullet? A 22
Yeah, and like I
for
said,
short distance assassins.
if he shoots him with a subsonic bullet, it hardly makes any noise. It does make some noise, but you know it doesn't make it like a 9 millimeter or 45. Which I don't know. I haven't heard the caliber of the gun, but by taking those casings and writing on those casings, they were meant to be left there. He jack. I mean, it's not like he's using a one revolver. He's taking it out, and you see him. The gun apparently gets jammed once, and they said he was very familiar with the gun. He racked the round out, and shot another time. So yeah, I think the only thing I think that is the weird thing about this, with as much of him trying to secure and make it where it's hard for him to be identified, he's showing his face now, you know, unless his nose looks kind of weird, like he might have be wearing some type of disguise on his nose. If you go back to this one, this picture, he almost looks like he's wearing maybe heavy eyelashes, and maybe he's painted his or dyed his eyelashes or his eyebrows. I mean, to me, he just looks different. It looks different, and I told I told Dina, I said, maybe he wants to be seen like this, where he can go now and grow a beard, and maybe he's got blonde hair under there. I don't know. I just, they're saying on the news he will be caught within the next, they say 24 to 48 hours. I kind of doubt it. They don't even know who he is right now. But
They probably know who he is. I just got to find him.
well, I don't know if you've watched this. There, back when I don't know how long ago now. I can't remember, but there was a guy that they had pictures of him. He walked up in front of a building and he put a satchel down with a pipe bomb in it. And then they got him on video as he's walking, and they ended up, I don't know if the bomb ever went off or not, but they've been hunting this guy for years now. As far as I know, they don't know who he is either. And so, it's possible, but I
Well, they've
think what,
got the face recognition software up there
yes, they
in New
do.
York City. They should be able to
If he's
correlate
not
that.
wearing if he's not wearing some type of plastic on his nose looks incredibly big to me, and I've got a big nose, so I can identify with that. But his nose looks almost too big. If you go a halfway up his nose, it looks like he's got, I don't know, he's got some marking across there. Maybe he had glasses on. And then if like I said, if you look at this picture, um his eyebrows look like they're almost dyed, and uh he looks like he's got eyelashes on, like girl eyelashes on. In fact, Dina even said that looks like a girl, but if you look at this picture, it you can see he's got stubble on his face, you know. But he may be disguising himself that way. I don't know, but we all need to uh, revert back to the um, reverse back to the yeah. Chybug said, "Look at his hands." I'll go back over here. Revert back to the fact that if you see something, say something. Let me go back over here to his hands. Yeah, his hands look kind of small to me, kind of thin. I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Well,
Well, listen, it's
it
been an
was
hour here, and I do appreciate y'all coming on and to continue to uh, come on here, and we do hope that you will share the program out to your friends, tell them, and if you got something that you want us to look into, we are still going to always keep up with Barry and his goings on, and any of our local our things that are happening. But you know, uh, wonder if he's a doctor. Yeah, that'd be something. That sure would be something. Uh, but anyway, we do appreciate y'all tonight, and we hope that they catch this guy, and we we will, if the week of Christmas we're not going to be on. Um, the I the first week of January, I'm gonna have to look and see if uh, what's going on. I actually have a procedure to have done on my back again on the 3rd of January. And after that, I'm going to try to take it easy and not uh, get out and do a whole lot for the first week. But anyway, thank you and for coming, and we'll keep up with everything. And if anything that you think that we need to do involving any of this stuff, be sure to let us know, and we will try to get on it. And Tony, we'll catch up with you in the next coming days. I'll talk to you, and thank y'all a lot for coming in, and we'll try to
Merry
see you
Christmas,
next.
everybody.
Do what?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, Merry
And
Christmas, everybody.
if we
And
don't see you before then, Happy New Year too.
all righty. Y'all have a good night. Good night, y'all.